Hi, it's Jay from Iridescent Tarot, back with some more sparkle for you. So today I wanted to film a video that has been on my to make list for a while, and on my little running tab of things I want to talk about is how to use oracle decks. Now, recently, Amy from Strength Reversed has created a tag called the Convince Me Oracle tag, where basically she talks about the fact that she doesn't really seem to jive all that well with oracle decks and asks us in the Tarotube community to respond and basically convince her why we need oracle decks. And it's been so fun watching everybody's responses, and there are quite a few people out there who have very similar ways of using oracle decks and viewing this part of their collection as I do. Specifically Elizabeth from the More Intuitive Me, as soon as I watched her video, I'm like, I don't even have to make a response to this because she pretty much covered all the bases. But I really like talking about oracle decks, and since this has been on my to make list for so long, I figured I'd throw my hat into the ring and just share some of my thoughts about oracle decks as well. So Amy put out 4 prompts. 1, what draws you to oracle decks? What qualities do you look for or avoid? 2, why use oracle decks? What can they do that tarot can't? 3, how do you use oracle? And then 4, your favorite oracle decks. And so I'm not going to do them in that order. I'm just going to talk about them in general. For example, the decks that I'm showing today, minus this one, are my favorite oracle decks. And I pretty much only keep oracle decks that I love and use. And so anything that I'm showing here today is something that is a favorite, minus this guy, and we'll get into that. But yeah, I'm going to show you how I use them, and in the process of doing that, it's going to kind of cover why I use them and what they can do that I think that tarot can't. Now, to get into just the first part a little bit, what draws me to oracle decks, what am I looking for or avoiding? I'm going to use this Connected and Free Alchemist Oracle to kind of drive the point home. This is a deck that I've had for, I don't know, maybe 10 years now, since I started reading tarot and oracle. And back in the day, 10 years ago, Jay, this was up my alley. And I really liked this deck in particular because it was created by the same artist and deck creator as the Lumina Tarot. So I loved the Lumina Tarot so much that I felt like I just had to have the oracle deck. And without very much thought into how I was going to be using this deck, I just blindly had to have it. And because Lumina was my soul deck for a while there, I just have this sentimental connection to that deck and this one as well. And so this is kind of like an old relic of the past and doesn't really reflect the way that I like to use my oracle decks nowadays. The keywords are fine. I typically don't really like buying oracle decks now that only have one keyword. And if I do, it's kind of more specific than this. Like, for example, the Reclaim Oracle. Yes, it only has one keyword, but these are super, super specific emotional words. And I use that in a different way. Whereas these are kind of general terms that don't really have a specific theme to them. So they're just kind of meh. The one good thing about this deck is that it does have these chakra cards, which you can kind of lay each one out and then maybe pull a tarot card for each of these. So if you had laid out all 7 and you're like, what do I need to work on for my base chakra? And you get the Ace of Cups, solar plexus chakra, same thing. So even though one of the things that does really drive me to oracle is the appreciation of the artwork, and that's one of the reasons why I buy them, it's not the main reason, and it's not quite enough to prompt me to purchase decks these days. And I do make exceptions, like Gaia Lessons from the Earth. This is a recent purchase, and it does only have one title, and this in many ways is more difficult to work with than Connected and Free, because this at least has something that you can grip onto, whereas Plutonic Rock is just a description of whatever the thing is in the card, and that makes it even more kind of abstract and can be hard to work with. But the guidebook for Gaia is really great, and I do sometimes like having that expansive energy where it's not going to tell me in a specific reading what the mountain is going to mean to me in that moment. Is it going to represent struggle? Is it going to represent getting to the top, the peak of the mountain, and it feeling like accomplishment? What is the mountain in that reading? So I will say that I don't always follow that rule of like one singular title or keyword is an absolute rule out, but it is something that I tend to not go for anymore. One of the other things that I think a lot about in regards to oracle decks is if you look at Levi from Masculine Intuition Readings channel, he has 2 or 3 videos called Why Oracles Suck, or something to that effect, where he talked about like random tarot oracle authors or writers being paired with random artwork or artists, and there's kind of this disconnect between the artwork that's on the card and whatever like this person was writing about, and how like the publishers kind of just like mismatch, and there can be this gap in continuity between the language in the writing and the image on the illustration, and how that can cause a lot of strife when reading. And I think that that's a large reason why I tend towards indie oracle decks. If there's going to be a collaboration between an artist and a writer, I really like them to be hand in hand, co-creating, so that the imagery really reflects the meaning. And I think that it's easier to find that in indie decks. It is possible to find them in mass market, but you have to be a little bit more picky about doing that research ahead of time. And for the curious, we've got nail polish today, Emily Damali. This is Raise Octaves. It's a super, super vibrant hot pink. It almost leans a little bit orange around the edges. It's like neon, and it's got this purpley blue shift to it. It's such a good summer color. I am probably wearing this like a little bit too early in the season. It's more summer than spring, but I couldn't help myself. I saw this and I had to wear it. And then my perfume of the day is this Alchemia Perfumes Arcanum. The notes on this are Eastern spices, aged patchouli, sandalwood, frankincense, nag champa, and dragon's blood. I bought this sample when I was looking for a perfume that smelled exactly like walking into a metaphysical shop, and that's exactly what this perfume is. Nailed it, spot on, nail on the head. Exactly a witchy shop perfume. I've tried multiple. This is the best one that I've tried. Love it. So the Reclaim Oracle is pretty much a game changer for me in the oracle world. There is, I've sang its praises before, there is no other deck that is as specific and also as helpful and useful to me in my card practice as this deck. There are a lot of cards, and each one is related to an emotion, and it's super helpful for me when I'm just feeling kind of confused, not sure exactly where my emotions lie, and this deck helps me sort that out. I've contemplated making an entire video just on my work with this deck, but it's been irreplaceable, and I mean, if you look at my video, that's only one deck. Like, that's how much I love this deck. I finally made a tarot tube sock for These Blue Bones Oracle, and I think it came out really nice. Beginning of winter, I had been using These Blue Bones Oracle a lot, more as a general reading, like, for example, kind of using it as a 3x3. So either asking a specific question or just laying down 3 oracle cards and 3 tarot cards and seeing how they read line by line, across, up, down, all of the above. And I had been using These Blue Bones that way, but I think that I just really like using it more like a specific vibe. It's got this melancholy ennui, and so should my Reclaim Oracle reveal to me that I'm in a mood that would be benefited from working with this deck, that's now more of when I pull this out. It's just got this energy that can't be replicated by tarot, and I think that's the key in my use of oracle decks, is that for the most part, they do things for me that tarot can't. They pinpoint a specific emotion. They allow me to work with my emotions in a different way. And that's why I love them. I've also waxed poetic about the Spread Machine Oracle. Again, if you check out my only one deck tag, you'll see exactly what I mean. And I also made an entire video on my oracle practice called How I Use Question and Spread Decks. And so this is a deck that sometimes I will pull intentional cards, or sometimes I'll pull random cards, but using them as my spread position. So asking myself, what do I need to practice in pulling a tarot card? What should I explore? The Star. And what should I show gratitude for? And the Magician. You know, using them as actual spread positions. I use the spirit kittens in a similar way, because these little kittens have questions at the bottom that are either great for journaling or great for creating spreads. So asking myself what helps me feel safe and open, what's making my heart sing, even if it's a quiet momentary song, what visions do I have for my life right now? And again, shuffling and pulling tarot cards to answer those questions has been a large part of my tarot oracle practice. A little bit of dabbling in bibliomancy. So sometimes I'll read a passage from here. Let's just say August 17th, the salient thought for the day is we need joy for the expansion of our soul. I'll read through the passage. I'll specifically look for a spirit kitten that has something to do with whatever I've read. So I know just from reading that one line that I'm looking for something to do with joy. So maybe after reading my passage, I found that bliss, remembering my magic, and play are things that I want to explore further. And again, I'll just pull my tarot cards and just read what the conversation is between the oracle and the tarot and use that as a reading. Sometimes I don't do it in 3, I'll just do it in the 1. And a lot of times if I'm doing bibliomancy, I'll use my passage, 1 oracle and 1 tarot, and kind of create a reading out of this combination. Sometimes it can be a little bit because I like the aesthetic of things going together well. Like this is the Kai Tarot Love and the Jaguar Kai Oracle, and me just enjoying the way that these two play together is enough for me to want to pull them together. And so for this, what I'll do often in the morning, if I don't have a lot of time to do a full reading, I'll just pull one card from each of these decks and allow them to kind of just speak to each other and see what messages come through. It's really helpful when I love the art on something and want to work with it. And for these, that's kind of the driving factor. I want a quick daily draw. I want messages that kind of correspond and flow nicely together. And there's a balance between having a tarot card and an oracle card that makes it adds a little bit of spice to the reading, because we know all of the archetypes in the tarot really well, but having the mystery of like, what is this oracle going to show me, that maybe is something that I wouldn't have anticipated in a tarot deck, like nurture a pure heart woodpecker. It just adds a little bit of spice. Sometimes I'll do a tarot spread. Let's just say I did a mind, body, spirit, and I'm like, okay, like I pretty much get what this is trying to tell me. But then I just want a little bit more direction for what I'm supposed to do thereafter. I'll pull out something like I'm here, which really gives excellent directives. Like this tells me what to do. So maybe I pulled the spread, mind, body, spirit, spirit, 9 of swords, not looking too good. What can I do? Like I can dream, let my mind wander, explore, and create. Imagination is boundless and abundant. So becoming curious and using the suit of swords, air, my mind in a different way, becoming more curious and explorative rather than like gloom and doom, right? I've explored more recently integrating tarot and artwork together. So I have 2 videos up. One titled Letting My Oracle Decks Direct My Art, where I pull oracle cards and use that to create bad, ugly art. So that video is up. And then also I have one titled Interpreting a Spread via Making Art. And so that's almost like the reverse, where I pull a tarot spread and rather than using my thinking mind to pull meaning from that, I just try not to think about it at all and allow my artwork to express what what I'm feeling, what I'm gathering from the reading. And rather than interpreting it via words, I interpret it via artwork. And that's something else that I love about Oracle decks, like specifically this one, is it's so artsy and intuitive that sometimes I don't want to pull a tarot card and like have this logical thought process happen afterwards. I might want to just pull a card and see what like neurons fire in my brain. And this deck is great for that because there are only numbers here. There's not even a keyword. So yes, I could go to the guidebook and see what the Deo 15 is, but I might not want to do that. I might just want to pull this and like sit in this image and visit it in my mind, or see what kind of like feelings or sensations come up from these different images in this Oracle deck. The Story Through Stone Oracle is also great for that. It's another one that doesn't have words, it just has numbers. And I mean, there's not even a right or wrong way to look at these. So this might be upside down or it might not be. There's no true image here. These are just stones that happened to have such vibrant images inside of them that you can kind of create narratives by looking at them. And this is something that my tarot cards don't do this. I think now that I've learned to read Marseille, it's been helpful for me to be able to look at my cards a little bit more in this way, but I don't have a tarot deck that I can like really let my intuition run wild the same way that I do with something like this or the Days of Creation. I really also like oracles that have a specific bent to them, like this Heavenly Bodies astrology deck, because I can learn something from them. And yes, there's always going to be more tarot deck studies where you can squeeze more out of the RWS system or Thoth or Marseille or whatever deck it is that you're working with. But there's something about oracle decks that have a specific theme to them that allow you to reach into a new system, like astrology for this deck, or for dirt gems to learn more about these specific plants, that it's just easier to sink into learning something new with an oracle deck for me. I would find it really hard and boring to try to like memorize the astrological associations in tarot, whereas something like this deck, learning about Mars being a defensive type planet, that's easier for me to kind of grasp onto. Sometimes I just can't stomach the thought of pulling the tower, and something like Into the Lonely Woods really allows me to lean on my card practice in times where some of the tarot archetypes might be too sharp to confront. This is like kind of a hug deck, but like in a way that it's very validating of difficult times. Like pulling Death Moves Among Us might just feel a little bit less intense than pulling the Death card in a tarot deck. And so while it still can touch on deeper, darker themes and support in hard times, it also removes some of those sharper edges that tarot can sometimes have for me. One of the most unique oracle decks that I have is this deck for Wonder Walking, and this is both just absolutely beautifully stunning artwork and also one of the strongest unique concepts that I have ever seen in Oracle. So what you have here is a deck, and they're all horizontal images, which is just so different, but you have these cards that you can pull at random, and then whatever card that you come up with, I will pull a card at random, so portals, and I find that in the guidebook, and then I use what's in this guidebook to actually observe things on a walk, on a wonder walk. And so this is one of the, like, if I'm struggling to find ways to really integrate things from my reading into my real life, this deck simplifies it completely for me, because basically whatever it is that I've pulled, I need to actually then look for that thing on the walk, think about the thing on the walk. It just gives me such solid practical ways to integrate things from the reading into my actual real life. And I feel like, I don't know, that's just such an invaluable way to use my oracle decks, and I just don't know that a tarot can ever give me this. Heart Align Affirmations Oracle gives me just a very direct and to the point message that is not always just a hug. Yes, you might read this and think, I give myself to the wild unknown and embrace uncertainty with curiosity and excitement. Maybe you read this and you think, I could have gotten that from a Fool card, but maybe you would have pulled that Fool card and you would have gotten an entirely different kind of message from it, where these affirmations are very, very direct and to the point, and they don't leave you wondering, where sometimes tarot can like open up and expand into questions. Certain oracles have this way of like closing down and rather than expanding into a question mark, they like funnel down into a period. Like this is the statement rather than a question. I have another video titled One Shot Inspired Tarot Readings, which is a practice that was inspired by Dawn Michelle. I believe she called it the Trash Panda spread, but I've heard other people recently calling it patchwork spreads, and I think I might like that as a working title a little bit more. But basically, it's where you pull a variety of tarot and oracle cards, and you just pull a couple different things, different sizes, different shapes, pull them together and see what kind of messages come through. So maybe you're reading and the first card you pull is Trust, and then you pull Fear, Transform, and Guardian. Slow Down, King of Swords, and I believe in myself and ability to overcome any challenge. And you really are able to gather this message of being this own guardian of yourself, being able to trust in your own authority to handle difficulties, and slowing down and really allowing that trust to transform the way that you look at situations. And I find this as a really nice way to like be able to use all my different decks and feel like I'm gathering like this creativity spiral into a reading. And I just really love doing this. Things that are just really creative, like these colorful oracles that allow me to like just, I don't know, take a look at different tarot cards and then try to find colors that match up with each certain thing. It just makes for a creative way to work with my decks. And I think that there's so many different ways to creatively engage with the cards that it just allows for a more expansive type of practice for me. And I don't know, I really enjoy using them, and I am constantly looking for new ways to try to involve them and gain value out of them. So yeah, I have this variety of oracles that have one single keyword, or they ask me a question, or they teach me something, or they give me a hug that I need, or they allow my intuition to run wild. I just love oracle decks. I don't know. I hope that convinced you, Amy, of the value of oracle decks. And if not, then it's your practice. Whatever makes you happy and allows you to gain value out of working with your decks. And if none of this resonates with you, that's okay too. This is what makes me happy in my practice. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, but we should all do whatever makes us happy in our own practice. But it's been so much fun getting to share all the reasons why I love oracle decks with you. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, all the things, and I will talk to you later. Signing out.